place, a new home for a while. Let me feel alive. Nothing to hold me back. Take my time, just enjoy the ride. A new man passing by. Life is good, best I've ever felt. Get me up, somewhere new, somewhere I can find myself. Oh, I feel so alive. As I reach out to the sky. I found my way. I was in the dark against it all, but made it through the day. Cause I found my way. In bad times, I know I'll be okay. Cause I found my way. Cause I found my way.
Hi, Fo Fox. We'll get to see you anyway, even if you're sleepy still.
Cause I found my way, my way, my way, my way, my way. Cause I found my way, my way, my way, my way, my way.
All right. Enough of that. Yeah, I hope you feel better soon. Hope you feel less sleepy soon. Sometimes that's hard thing to do. I completely understand that. In fact, wow, my hat is really crooked. Let's a little bit straighter. Is that better? It's kind of hard to tell. Let me do this really fast and see. I can look directly on and then have a better idea. Kind of mostly fine. I mean, it helps if I don't have these on, right? Because then I can have more control over. Gosh. It just does not want to be straight. Okay, there we go. I think that's okay. I think that's better anyway. Yeah, it's so I'll remind you again at the end if you have to leave early or fall asleep or whatever it might be, just so that you know. So starting next weekend, there will basically tonight will be the last streaming for the rest of the month. I'll be gone 3 weekends at my dad's place visiting him. So for the next 3 weekends, there will be no streaming. I will stream, however, the first weekend in June. So like June 1st is like a Wednesday or something like that. So 3rd, 4th, whatever, or 2nd, 3rd, whatever that Friday is right after. 3rd, 4th, somewhere in there, June, whatever that is, I will be streaming that day. I will not be streaming the rest of May because I'll be gone. I don't actually know how many videos I'm going to get done while I'm gone either. I had this big plan of all the stuff I wanted to do, and I still plan on doing it. I don't know if I'll manage it, though, but we'll see. If I could at least bring my video editing software with me, I can get clips and then figure things out once I'm there. So we'll see. Well, it is a while, definitely, yeah. Excuse me. Great, I got juice in my lung. Fantastic. I can do some vlogs. And like I said, I do plan on having some stuff recorded and brought with me. I have more than this, I think, also, but I have at least this. This is like, I think, 128 gigs, this thumb drive. So I could bring quite a bit of recording with me, at least. Yeah, well, daily vlogs while I'm there means people will start expecting daily vlogs when I get back, which is not something I can do with my normal schedule. So, hey, Aaron, welcome. It's a very good thing. Well, I know a lot of you guys cannot make it to all of my streams, so I still need to break up separate streams as well. So there'll be kind of a combination of recording I can do ahead of time that I'm able to take with me and then do the editing while I'm there, as well as I'll take some recordings I already have, like of streams I've done for some of the games, and I'll fit those into smaller pieces as well. The whole idea is to hopefully keep content coming, even if it doesn't, and it hasn't even while I've been here, right? But so even if it's not daily, which it has not been, it's at least usually like no more than maybe every couple of days or something that I'll have something up. So, yeah, I mean, it'll be 2.5 weeks, so that's not like you have a year to catch up or something. So depending on how far behind you are or what you want to catch up on, obviously that may or may be more or less successful for you. But yeah, that would be a good opportunity to try to catch up on what you can. I'll try to get the rest of Simulacrum up. So what I streamed last Friday, or sorry, 2 Fridays ago, the last part of that, the last 2, I think, parts of that or whatever, plus what we do tonight. And then I'll probably try to finish up Little Misfortune. I will probably take Old Gods Rising that we did last Saturday, and I'll probably break that up into pieces as well. So as a reminder, actually I should do this one probably to show you better. We have 3 of 4 keys that we need. The Crimson, the Azure, and the Verdant keys, or red, blue, and green keys. We also have this. Supposed to ward off demonic influences, I guess. So that I'm sure will be applied at some point. We'll probably either start feeling negative effects ourselves and we use that to recover or resist them or something. Or maybe we can actually use it like a cross with a vampire and make demons back off. It's hard to say. I don't know, obviously. So we're here. We need 1 more key. We've opened this door. So in the place beyond this, where we went way down, there was a lever. And in the slot where the lever moved, there was also a clock needle stuck. So we got that. We put that here on this door that had a clock face on it. This started rotating. Or the needle on it did. The face, the covering of this clock, and this clock, all of those coverings opened. And we have a giant clock mechanism in here that rotates 3 ways. So we have basically 3 discs. In fact, let's just go there now. We came from there, yeah. So up this way. So in here, so you can see that there are 3 discs here. This top one's not, it's like a pair of discs is all. There's, over here in this corner is a moon. Here's the sun. It's 2. That matched this clock on the map, okay? This clock here had zodiac symbols, which we have here, oriented. And then finally you have standard clock indicators. I don't know, whatever you want to call them. Icons that match this clock here, which is an old-timey standard form clock. We need to... Wait, do we need to, or did we already do that? I'm trying to remember. Did we figure out all of the alignment on the clock? We got close. I don't remember if we actually finished it, though. Yeah, I think we did. Because we needed to line everything up with this midnight time, I believe. So you have 12 o'clock and then sun. Because it had been moon before. Since everything had to be rotated except for that, I assumed this needed to be rotated as well. So we had sun, we had this, then we had over here, whoops, you can see this, which indicates different numbers and things. But since we were trying to align everything with 12, use this one. 12th is the coming of our Desert Lord. The Desert Lord would be... well, both. Desert would indicate sun, right? Also, you have references like the down here, the day the beast has fed. So... anyway, and then the Desert Lord also is Scorpio, right? The Scorpion is the Lord of the Desert, because scorpions live in the desert. Whatever, right? So, the day the beast has fed, and all 4 stars are dead. The key is yours to keep. So we got to figure out how to get all 4 stars dead. Or how to do things so that 4 stars die, or whatever it is. And that's questionable at best. Because I don't know what the stars are, let alone how to get them to be fed to the beast. This door here, as you can see, exits right here. Now there's still, at least last time we were here, there was still a barrier here that prevented anybody from passing, which means the beast is here on this other side, or at least one of the angel monster demon things is. But it cannot get past the barrier currently. Although if we've lined everything up properly here, whatever reaction that causes may open this up. It's hard to say. Yeah, the other thing was here, a book on astrology. So if you look at the diagram here, looks kind of like the symbols on a clock, right? But if we go look at the clock that's actually in this room, turn back around. Yeah, so here's the moon, you can see. Anyway, so if we come back over here, Someday it'll switch perspectives. Maybe. There we go. Should not want to switch for a bit there. When we rotate these, sometimes the symbols ended up on either side of the number. But now this is the Scorpio sign, does for sure show up on 12. Right? So we go back here to the astrology book. Okay, these, and then we click 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12, Scorpio, Scorpion, and it's that M with the arrow at the end. And if you look, again, here, it's the M with the arrow. So I think we've lined these up properly. I don't know what the next step to take is, though. So that's going to be... Trying to remember, I believe I've already tried these doors since doing that with the clocks. I believe I've already tried these doors. Still blocked. I don't know if we've completely finished, but I think we, at least for now, have finished everything down in the crematorium. Well, I did say just before this, should we go take a chance and see if that demon is still behind the barrier? We do have to figure out what changed. Whether that means that or not, I don't know. Yeah. So he's still there. Still has the barrier for whatever reason. Pretty sure we also tried the door that's down here again as well. Let's go down the stairs, or the ladder is more correct to say. Yeah, see, we switched this to sun. This says the moon bleeds 1982. I don't know what that means. Obviously, when we very first saw this, way back when, thought 1982 was a year, and it might still be. But we need to figure out, we're supposed to have 4 stars are eaten. I don't know what the moon bleeding has to do with any of that even. It may not, and it might have to do with the different puzzle even. This was blocked before, probably still is. Yeah, lock is broken. We cannot go back down this middle area again because the ladder that had been there broke. And for a time, it trapped us down below until we found another way out. So, and this was the room with valves, which we moved to drain that large middle section that had black gunk in it, which she has on her map as an indicator there. See, if I go up here... So bad I can't get a change in perspective a little bit, but... But I think this is more or less the same idea as the drawing on the background of the zodiacs. You don't have the zodiac symbols on the outside here, but this here in the middle looks very similar if it's not the same, so... And that's if it's not the same. I don't actually know if it is, right? It might be. All right, give me a couple minutes here. I gotta use the restroom really briefly. I'll be gone probably 2 or 3 minutes. All right, back. So that is not where whatever aligned, opened up, whatever. So we have to figure something else out. See, so if we look at this, in comparison to the book, not what I wanted, this one. See, this is the same symbol, right? Now, this arrow is, yeah, it's pointing down like this. So I do think that's still correct, right? Because it's pointing down in the book. Yeah. I don't know what these symbols on the sides mean, though. But here's Sagittarius. I don't know. Okay. Well, let's keep looking, I guess. Go this way again. Because I don't know that we need to go through that. Well, maybe we do. I don't know. But I don't know that we need to go through that tunnel that goes up above. So I don't know if there's going to be a point to that. This room doesn't go anywhere, right? This chasm we can cross if our light is off. But we got the seed that was on the chair here. We opened the doors to this room that only the doors open a little bit and then there's nothing else in there. There was a key we got. So I believe we're done entirely with this room now. We used the sink. We lighted that fuel and then went down to the crematorium to get the writing from the one incinerator. Trying to figure out what we haven't yet done. Obviously, we cannot get through here because there's danger. Okay, but even if the danger were there and it chased us, we cannot get past this because there's a barrier. So that is no. We just were here, went across here, cannot go back down there, and we're over here. Hmm. And I'm pretty sure we already tried this and it's still broken or whatever, right? Yeah. It's just still really hot in here. I don't think there's anything else to do in this room. We already, before we lit this, long ago, we got the seed from here. And we've looked at this before. we look again? I don't think it's changed, though, has it? Cages being lowered into fire. Impressionism? Creepy. Yeah, but, like... those are these cages. But I don't... Obviously, number one, I don't want to get into a cage. Or get lowered into the fire, right? But number two, I can't. Even when I'm trying, so... Yeah, there was a seed here before. This is kind of a cool angle. I wish it would be like kind of closer up more of the time. So we could get a better look at Abigail more often, but whatever, it's fine. I don't think there's anything else in here for us. If we go here... It's what we used long ago to get the ladder, which leads up and over to here. The thing is, shouldn't need to go back there again. I mean, we just were here. We could go back to this room, I guess. Hmm. Oh, let's do it. I mean, might as well. Don't have anything else better to do that I could see right now. There's that, but something looks like something ripped its way out of the wall. There's so much blood. We can't go through there, though. I don't have anything that would make sense to use. Yeah, I can't use that here anyway. Yeah. I'm pretty sure this is how that thing came to end up behind the barrier over there. Of course, the problem with that assumption is if that thing ripped out of there and came this way, how did it end up on the other side of the barrier and now cannot get back across? Doesn't seem to... Throw you out of there, threw you out of here. Oh, so threw you out of here, threw you out of here, threw you out of... Yeah, it almost looks like a T sometimes, but it's the F. Threw you out of here, in you out of here, into you out there, flesh to flesh, threw you out of here, threw you out of here, throw you out there, threw you out of here, threw you out of here. Something, through again or something. So this part maybe has a clue. This where it changes. Threw you out of here, in you out of here, into you out there, flesh to flesh. But I mean, I don't know. No, you're not. Before, she said she didn't understand it. Now she says, no, you're not. Interesting. Maybe she understands some things better now that she's done a bit of exploring. Child's letter under the desk. Yeah. The girl wants to be impregnated. That's cute. It's not cute that she thinks that somehow uniting with the demon thing is going to do anything other than be terrible for her, but I don't think you could do much to help her out with that. Yeah, okay. Go back, I guess. Maybe. Yeah. Maybe. So nothing there. Um, hmm. I think there was nothing else except for this clock, right? How do I back up like that? Is that what I want? Yeah, I'm not interacting with that at all. We already looked at that. In fact, I think we might have turned it. I think that was 11 before. Not totally sure, but... So there's the room we had entered before. This was broken. We couldn't enter. Is it the same? Yeah. Maybe back to the crematorium, then? Or here's the closet. Let's go in here again just to see. I doubt there's anything new, but maybe. No, it's the same. I mean, minus the things that we already grabbed. Makes sense she'd be able to do more the longer she goes. Yeah, she could do more, and also she understands more. So maybe she says, she sees something, and first time she's like, what? But later she's like, wait a minute. Yeah. I don't know what that ringing was, but almost sounded like a phone or something. Here's the book about the Zodiacs and the Zodiac clock. And one of several of the cages that tend to get lowered, I guess. Yep. Yes, I think I do. It's possible I've not done the clock correctly. I think I have, but that doesn't mean that I have. Let's see. Like, she should recognize this more than she did before now. Discard art looks like they were saved from a fire, or from fire. All of that is the same. Yeah, we already used this. Yeah, so I don't think there's anything more down here. Keep going, right? Yeah, it's a dead end. Okay. Yeah, I don't think there's anything more down here. So I'm trying to what then? They're going here again for some reason. We already followed these in a particular order to get a key. I don't know that we're going to need to do anything else in here. It doesn't look to me like there's anything else to do. All right. These fell because we removed the bars. Is there some kind of a lever or something I'm supposed to pull now that I've got this like this? This opened, so I feel like we already got an indicator that it worked. Doesn't look like I can control it from here. Yeah, you use those individual clocks to move it. Swallow 4 stars. I am not sure what that would be. There are 4 keys, so normally you might draw the association 4 stars, so 4 keys. But the problem is, it doesn't work like that because it says you get a key, unlike the final key, I think, or whatever, when it swallowed the 4 stars. So something has to be the stars, and we have to make it swallow those somehow, however that happens. Already verified. This is still blocked. This is still blocked. This is still blocked. This doesn't work. This doesn't work. This is still a barrier. This is still a barrier. What am I missing? I can put the 3 keys in here so that I have so far and see if anything happens. I don't know. I wouldn't expect anything to happen until you put the 4th key in, but could always be wrong. But let's save here again. Room of locks again. I think this is the one we're missing. We don't have an orange key, whatever you're going to call it. So this is Azure, I think. Okay. The Verdant key. And the Crimson key. I've put that Crimson key in, yeah. So I need... What does this one say again? Remind me. This is just about the keys, right? Or is it something else? Season's keys are stolen. Yeah. So basically, Spring was taken by angels. That would be, hey, Silua, welcome. Spring was taken by angels. That's the green key. That was basically the one that Jennifer... So we're playing Abigail. Jennifer is Abigail's friend, family, lover, whatever it is. So Jennifer is one of the angels, had the green key, and gave it to us later. So that was where we got the spring key. The summer key was a key we found that was down. Basically, we had to go down to the dark area where we encountered the angel before. I think that's where we got it. Or summer was the red key, yeah. Winter is the blue key. I don't know. Anyway. But autumn, what I believe is probably the last one, the kind of orange key, whatever the color actually is going to be, that we get. Autumn is claimed by time. So we have to finish that time puzzle to get autumn, the last key, I believe. Which makes sense, but doesn't make sense. So I don't know. I've not done the time puzzle correctly, obviously. Otherwise, we would have something happen. Okay, so I got to revisit this puzzle and try to figure it out again. Okay, so sign of Scorpio, summer, and noon apparently are wrong. Yeah. See, here's the angel demon or the beast waiting to devour I hope this wasn't that little girl who was saying she wanted to get impregnated, but... Dancing around the circle of time. It's waiting a deathly chime. Chime is usually on 12 o'clock, right? Like on the hour, or especially with noon, it may be, depending on the clock, it might chime 12 times, right? Trying to see if one of these others might be something we want, but I don't think so. Also, I don't know what the red versus the blue means exactly. And then Day of the Beast has fed, and all 4 stars are dead. The key is yours to keep. There is that year 1982. I just don't know how that plays into anything. The moon will bleed, or the moon bleeds. I think it's the moon will bleed 1982. Here's the moon. I don't see... They are bloody tears. But I don't understand... All 4 stars are dead. I just don't... What would be... I don't understand what the... What are the stars? I don't see how it could be the key, so that can't be right. I would assume at some point we should be able to get into at least some of these locked rooms. Maybe this one and this one, maybe any of these, but I would assume at some point those should become accessible to us. It could be the clock. The sun-moon clock needs to go back to the moon, I guess. Maybe it was already on the correct setting? Maybe. Try that and see. I'm pretty sure noon and Scorpio are the things we want, though. I think we did Scorpio after the others, so maybe if this had stayed. But see, yeah, the moon bleeds, 1982, which is almost meaningless to me. Other than that you see the moon with the bloody tears. But otherwise, I don't know what that even refers to. Now we come back here. I mean, that's rotated, but I don't know. I mean, is that helpful? I have no idea. I feel like no. But yes, this isn't even like invisible glass or something, it's just actual bars. I'm sure all this other stuff is still inaccessible, right? Yeah. Nothing new. Yeah. Well, I'm stumped a little bit. I don't know. What are you talking about? The 4 stars? I don't know what that means. Not talking about save points, right? We only have 3 of those anyway. 1 up here, 2, 3. I mean, we technically have a 4th that's inaccessible now. It's down below. Could be the clocks, but would you have the clocks reference to themselves for something you have to do to one of the clocks in order for it to match the reference? I mean, I just circles on circles on circles in logic. I don't think that really works. You just cyclically keep going and going and going and get nowhere really. What else? I mean, I didn't actually try to go through doors here again to see if anything changed on that. I could always do that. Let's just double check these doors. This is still locked, right? Yeah. This is also still locked, right? Yep. Okay. Excuse me. I don't know if I still have it. I had written down before. Where did I write that? I wrote the order I used on something, but I can't remember where I wrote that now. I don't know. I don't know that. I mean, that order I think was just to get the key initially. Yeah, that's where we got a key. So we ended up getting like the green key from Jennifer as we got the green key from Jennifer as we left. So we, how do I say this, right? Okay, so really briefly. Oh, don't have a map of this place. Yeah, okay. I guess we can't do it. We go here and go back out because we already got that. If I go to one of these others. These all just come back to this same room. At least so far they have. Nothing else on these either, right? I didn't hit E while I was doing it, but I don't imagine. Yeah. No. Okay. Anyway. So I don't think I'll try the way across just in case, but I'm guessing it also doesn't go somewhere. So we went through this. So this is the last one. I'm sure just gonna go to the same place. If I go back out here, does it also kick me? Just out of curiosity. No, it just keeps me on the same spot. Okay. That's fine. I was just curious. Okay, so this, and then this, and it takes me to this room again. Yep. And then when I leave, I exit out that center one here. Yep. Okay. Yeah, so those really do not go anywhere else now. Anyway, yeah, so we got one key over here. The door's the partway open. So you turn your light off, you can walk on what looks like a chasm. Otherwise, doors are partway open. There was a red key here. We got that one from there. We then eventually drained this, went down below, and did some stuff, and also had to run from an enemy. When we left that, we appeared back here in our starting area again, and there was another key, the green key, that was left for us there. And then that when you enter in this area, and there's that cross that we just saw, that crucifix we just saw, that stone one or whatever, there was a key hanging from that. That was our third key. We still have one more key, and I don't know how we get it, though. Locked. Already been back down to the crematorium. Have 3 of 4 keys here. Already had this clock. Locked. Already used, I believe, everything in there. I believe I already used everything in there as well. Went up here, checked out this whole room, been in here and read the thing on the wall, plus manipulated the clock, and extended the bridge and crossed over. Already been back to the valves room and this, and all the way down over through this. Nothing new. This also is still blocked, just like this one. What am I missing? What is the other thing I need to do? I do not know what I still need to do. The time puzzle, I guess. I must have something wrong. I know for a fact, or I remember, I should say. I'm keeping in my brain. I remember that I've changed this over to a moon, which could be wrong. Right? But I don't know, is the thing. We're at 12. Which is either midnight or noon. And this talked about over here on the left, talked about the zodiac signs, and the 12th zodiac sign was the Lord of the Desert, which is the Scorpion. None of the other stuff in that match. Like none of the other things could match, right? If you go through them, becomes very clear which the things are, right? The proud king, monarch of beasts, or the king of the jungle, that would be the lion, right? So that's Leo. Doppelganger within the womb, that would be Gemini, a twin, right? Bowman with deadly intent. So that's what's his name? Gemini or whatever, right? Killer that hides within the man. Anyway, these all match, right? So if you look at these, and then we look at our book on astrology. Yeah, Taurus the bull. But see, if we're supposed to, like, none of these represent anything in the desert except for Scorpio. Like scales in a desert, I mean, you could have them. They don't really scream desert thing. Maiden, no. Lion, no. Crab is water, if anything. Twins, bull, none of these scream desert, right? Ram, fish, water bearer, goat, archer, and scorpion. Sagittarius was the second one, or the whatever one that was, the hunter guy. Anyway, so Scorpio makes sense, right? It has to be Scorpio. Oh, so you're saying there was a blood moon in 82? Okay. Or maybe that could be why it says the moon bleeds in 1982. But if that's true, I still don't know what that has to do with us, like in this game. Like, okay, there was a lunar eclipse. Even if this takes place in 1982, how do we do anything with the lunar eclipse? I wonder what month. If there was a blood moon in 82, what month was it? Let me see. Let me see if I can find out. No, that's a good idea, though. I'm getting, of course, a lot of Christian and evangelical stuff, you know. Jesus comes now and stuff. It's not what I'm searching for. Is this go back in time with 1980s history timeline? Maybe. This is generic stuff. It's not going to have... Just, oh, maybe... Moon? No, it's just Michael Jackson moonwalking. So that's not going to be it. Oh, here we go. Blood moons fell on the following days. It has stuff even going back to, like... Okay. It says, okay, 1493, 1494, 1949 to 1950, 1967 to 68, now and then 2014 to 2015. So not a blood moon, at least. Let me see. Let me try this. Yeah, there was. July 5th and 6th. So it's July 5th and 6th. What does that mean? July is the 7th month? So do I want to do the 7th on this one? Maybe that's it. And then maybe I keep the moon because it's at noon. It's dark. Maybe that's what I do. You're an Aries. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 7th is the chaser of all things red. So that'd be Taurus. the bull. Oh, is that what that is? I didn't realize that. So right click, as you're cycling through dialogue things, I could right click and back up one. I didn't realize I could do that. At least that's what it looks like to me. Let me check a memo. Check a memo really fast here. Let's see. If I go here, then I go forward. If I go right click, yeah, it backs up one. Yep, okay. Good to know. So in the future... Oh, that's actually a good... I didn't even think about that. I should also look for colors. Top of the Mortal Primer. On top of the Mortal Primer, the greatest color of power and life is red. Yeah. So, medium paint is blood. The raging force that flows from our heart. Raging force would also be, or which beats in fury. Which beats in fury. Furious beasts like bulls, again, could definitely be. Okay. So maybe that's it. Maybe that's what we need. Instead of that, we need Taurus instead. Which is... What one? Taurus the bull. Oh, like, duh. It looks like it has bull horns. Duh, I knew that. I knew that. Okay. So, let's go find that one again and change that to Taurus. This one. Taurus is way over there. Doesn't matter because I need all of them. Does that line up? It does line up. And then we do moon for the lunar eclipse. So at noon, you see the moon and Taurus is angry or something. Oh, there was a blood moon on December 30th also? Because there was a blood moon in 1982. Supposedly there was a blood moon in July as well. According to this, July 5th through 6th, 1982, total lunar eclipse, blood moon. Yeah, and there's even a Wikipedia article about a July 1982 lunar eclipse. You said December 30th? What if I do December? Yeah, December 29th and 30th, so there were two that year. July 5th and 6th, 82, and December 29th and 30th, 82. Taurus would seem to match with all the references to rage and red and everything as well. If that's true, then what else do I do? Is there something more I need to do now? Because if I'd done that, I didn't get a cutscene or any indicator that anything had changed. If we do December, then we go back to... Oh, maybe December is not... Yes, December was the desert god. So we do December. If we go 12 because of December, then that would need to change again. Instead of being Taurus, it'd be back to what we already tried before, which would have been Scorpio, which unfortunately did not give us anything. I tried the sun and the moon on Scorpio and nothing. I tried the moon on Taurus. I could try the sun, but I feel like we want the moon because of the lunar eclipse. Could always try this though. Let's see. Switch this. But if it says moon bleeds, I would totally expect moon to be the important thing, not the sun, right? Yeah. And other than that, rotating to a different position, we've not changed anything else. I don't know. Dang it, I was hoping we'd progress more. I think it needs to be the moon. I think that's correct. I do think it needs to be the moon. I thought sun earlier because sun at noon, but if we're talking about a lunar eclipse, what do you care about an eclipse in the middle of the night, right? You don't notice it. The importance of an eclipse is that it's supposed to be daylight out, but the moon blocks the daylight, blocks the sun. Otherwise, there's no point to the eclipse, right? It's nothing special if it's like the typical. Normally, when the moon's out, you cannot see very much at night because it's, night. So I think the moon does make sense, but I don't like. It's not like I can. As far as I could tell, I don't believe I'm missing something to do either, because there's no lever or anything in here to pull. So it's not like, oh, I did all of that, but I forgot to pull the lever to submit my changes or whatever. That's not how that works. So I don't. Okay, when it says there was a total lunar eclipse, does it say time? Maybe I need to change the time of the day to match when it would have been. $7:30 a.m. That's UTC. So I don't know what we're going off of time zone wise. I guess we'd use UTC. That makes the most sense, I suppose. So 7:30 was the maximum eclipse. I don't know how you get a half an hour though, because the clocks are all hour, like on the hour. So unless I do 7 a.m., that doesn't seem to be. I don't know how you would do that. And in December, it was again at the half hour. It would have been 11:30 at night, or no, 11:30 in the morning. Almost noon. So that one's closer to noon. And even still, I don't know. I am not sure. Okay. Pretty sure nothing changed. Test these again and again just in case. But I'm pretty sure nothing has changed on any of these. These are both still broken locks, I'm sure. Yep. This one also. I'm not sure what I'm missing. I'm missing some like single thing to get it to be like an eclipse to match up with the eclipse or whatever. But I just don't know what that is. Yeah, we're gonna stop this. We're gonna switch to another game. Originally, when I had said I was gonna do 2 games tonight, I had intended to work out and then do Darkness Within, since I failed to stream last night, even though I went through, but somehow I failed to actually stream. But unfortunately, it looks like my Darkness Within game is broken. Not broken fully, but like broken so I can't progress. So I'm going to have to probably replay, like off camera, I'll probably have to replay the whole friggin' thing up to the point of, and then try again. So I think I might do that while I'm away at my father's place. I think I might install Darkness Within on my laptop and play that going through to where I would be rough. I mean, because some things were out of order or whatever. So there might be slight changes, but try to get there basically to about where I am on my desktop PC here. And then once I've got that on my desktop PC, or once I've got the laptop playthrough lined up with this, that I can copy the save files from there over to here. I should be able to at least. And then I will try loading from where I've left off. We'll see how well that works out, but I think that might be something I can do. So we'll see. In the meantime, yeah, so I had thought I was going to play something else. Now I don't know. So, I don't want something that's especially long. I also kind of don't want to continue something else from Halloween just because, once I start continuing a game, I like to just keep doing that game again and again and again if I can. I don't, except for when I do the Halloween starting the different games. Otherwise, I don't really like to start a game and then not keep going with the game. So, let me see. Give me a second here. See if I can find something that. Oh, yeah. Okay, we can do this one. I'm pretty sure this one is fine. Let's do this one. I don't think I have yet hang on one second. Let me do this. I don't think I have the logo saved, so give me just 1 second here. Yeah, I do not have it. Okay, this is not a complicated logo though, so this should take me almost 0 time to do. Won't take me technically 0 time, but it'll be close. That. Okay. Open. This. Okay. Streams. Images. There. right. So I can see it decently. Well, see if any flaws. Okay, let's do. This. Okay. And then really? Feels like that's wrong. It's probably. It'll take a little longer than I thought, but hopefully not. Still not too long. Let's do this. So you guys have this in the meantime. Much better. I'll just use this one. Yeah, funky. Okay. I think we've got it. Someday the ring will stop. It'll fade out fully. All right. Okay. I believe we're good. So let me go ahead and cut this. All right. Game logo. Something like that. This. We'll just move this over. And something like that. That does not look the best. Let me back it out again. Let me do this instead. I'll just let it cover the top line of chat some. That's fine. Okay. I think that's probably okay. Okay. So let's go ahead and get started. I will need to switch the input of this. Play. Okay, here we go. All right. This is supposedly just maybe I don't know what the DLCs do. What is the DLC? It's like wallpapers and stuff. Nah. Okay, hang on. Yeah. Okay, yep. No, I'm not worried about those. So those are just extras. There's also Tales of Herring Lake. Which, is this another one by the same people? I think so. I think it's just another game. So I'm not going to worry about it. Okay. Anyway. How's this sound? Does this sound alright? Let's see. Do we have other... Language, English. Okay. Let's get rid of motion blur, I think. VSync. I think we'll be okay. We'll leave it. Okay. Here we go. Dagon is a faithful interactive adaptation of H.P. Lovecraft's work focused on story and atmosphere. You will not find difficult choices, action sequences, or inventory management here, and movement is limited to progressing through locations along with a plot.
I am writing this under an appreciable mental strain, since by tonight I shall be no more.
During the game, you'll encounter interactive elements. Some of them will allow you to continue your journey. Others reveal interesting facts about the original short story, its historical background, and the author. Some of the trivia is hidden. In order to find these secrets, focus your eyes and look for the Elder Sign. So this. You can also access all the found facts later. They will be available in the main menu. Just seeing if we happen to have an Elder Sign or something over there, but it doesn't look like it. I can't go any farther, so it wouldn't be accessible if we did. Had a crumb under my pinky, had to move. I don't see any. Ah, there we go. Right click and you can get a focus. And you can see stuff that wasn't there before. Okay. The Seeker achievement unlocked. Lovecraft's letters. As to letters, my case is peculiar. I write such things exactly and as easily and as rapidly as I would utter the same topics in conversation. Indeed, epistolary expression is, with me, largely replacing conversation, as my condition of nervous prostration becomes more and more acute. I cannot bear to talk much now, and am becoming as silent as the spectator himself. My loquacity extends itself on paper. H.P. Lovecraft to Reinhard Kleiner, December 23rd, 1917. Throughout his life, Lovecraft penned around 100,000 letters to his friends and fans, out of which about 10% survived to this day. But his tendency to endless correspondence was a relatively late growth. In youth, I scarcely did any letter writing. Thanking anybody for a present was so much of an ordeal that I would rather have written a 250-line pastoral or a 20-page treatise on the rings of Saturn. Selected Letters, 1929 to 31, H.P. Lovecraft. Lovecraft would often skip meals to afford postage. Collections of his correspondence have been published in various books, and selected letters can be found online. Some readers consider them his most important legacy. Interesting. I'm guessing we're not going to have any others. Probably only one in a location. But who knows for sure. Yeah, I think just the one. Okay.
Penniless, and at the end of my supply of the drug which alone makes life endurable, I can bear the torture no longer, and shall cast myself from this garret window into the squalid street below. Do not think from my slavery to morphine that I am a weakling or a degenerate. When you have read these hastily scrawled pages, you may guess, though never fully realize, why it is that I must have forgetfulness or death.
Ah, Elder Sign right there. Okay, cool. Got another one. Morphine. Morphine entered into use in the 19th century and was routinely administered to treat severe pain during the American Civil War and World War I. It was also sold without restrictions until 1914. Morphine became more popular after the invention of the hypodermic syringe around 1854. Friedrich Serturner, who first isolated the substance, originally named it morphium after Morpheus, the Greek god associated with dreams. At the time when Dagon was published, morphine abuse, known as soldier's disease, already posed a big problem in the United States.
It was in one of the most open and least frequented parts of the broad Pacific that the packet of which I was supercargo fell a victim to the German sea raider.
Lovecraft and the Great War. Dagon was written around a month after the United States entered World War I. Lovecraft was actively interested in its course. He composed many poems in which he gave encouragement to the soldiers and commented on the events unfolding in Europe. He tried to enlist in the army, which he mentions in one of the letters to Reinhard Kleiner some time ago. Impressed by my entire uselessness in the world, I resolved to attempt enlistment despite my almost invalid condition. I argued that if I chose a regiment soon to depart for France, my sheer nervous force, which is not inconsiderable, might sustain me till a bullet or piece of shrapnel could more conclusively and effectively dispose of me. Letters to Reinhard Kleiner, H.P. Lovecraft. But even though he passed the physical exam, his mother prevented him from going to the war. She had threatened to go to any lengths, legal or otherwise, if I did not reveal all the ills which unfit me for the army. I am Providence. The Life and Times of H.P. Lovecraft. S.T. Joshi.
The Great War was then at its very beginning, and the ocean forces of the Hun had not completely sunk to their later degradation. So that our vessel was made a legitimate prize, whilst we of her crew were treated with all the fairness and consideration due us as naval prisoners.
I already know why you use morphine, good sir. You are Sherlock Holmes. That's right. The Huns were Central Asian nomads who established a dominion in Europe and invaded the Roman Empire in the 5th century AD. They were known as brutal, deadly warriors and masters of quick raids who also developed powerful composite bows, lassos, and early siege weapons. During World War I, the British used the word Hun as a synonym for Germans in order to emphasize their brutality. However, the term originated when the German Emperor Wilhelm II gave a speech to his troops on 27th July 1900 before they embarked to China. Should you encounter the enemy, he will be defeated. No quarter will be given. Prisoners will not be taken. Whoever falls into your hands is forfeited. Just as 1,000 years ago, the Huns under their King Attila made a name for themselves, one that even today makes them seem mighty in history and legend. May the name German be affirmed by you in such a way in China that no Chinese will ever again dare to look cross-eyed at a German. The refusal to take prisoners was a clear breach of the laws and customs of war adopted during the First Hague Convention of 1899.
So liberal, indeed, was the discipline of our captors, that 5 days after we were taken, I managed to escape alone, in a small boat, with water and provisions for a good length of time.
Interesting. You wouldn't think you could get it. You could get that far, that far in that time. Okay, unless I'm missing something, I'm not seeing an elder sign. So far, there's been one on every screen. I would assume there's supposed to be one here, too, somewhere. Out in the stars, maybe? I am not seeing one. Do you guys see any elder signs? The little branch indicator? I like the facts. They're cool. Cool little addition. Also, you typically get like a white question mark or something, so it stands out. I'm not seeing anything like that. So, I guess there's not one on this part. Keep thinking I'm going to miss it, though, but maybe not. I don't care so much about, like, achievements. I'm not a completionist, but I would like the fact if they've got it, but I don't see it. So I guess if we miss it, we miss it. All right.
When I finally found myself adrift and free, I had but little idea of my surroundings.
Solitude in Unbroken Blue is the achievement. Give no quarter. 1/5 is fine, so. That's right. That's funny. Oh, we're not done yet with...
Never a competent navigator, I could only guess vaguely by the sun and stars that I was somewhat south of the equator. Of the longitude, I knew nothing, and no island or coastline was in sight.
Yeah, I'm not seeing an elder sign here either. I wonder if they steadily get more difficult to find. And so I did miss one on the last screen, and I'm missing one on this one now because they're harder to locate. I don't know, though. They didn't seem hard at all up until then. So I either got extremely lucky, which is possible, or there just are some screens where there are not any. Again, I don't see one here, so I guess we'll just do this.
The weather kept fair, and for uncounted days I drifted aimlessly beneath the scorching sun, waiting either for some passing ship or to be cast on the shores of some habitable land.
Ah, there we go. There's one. The Return to Short Stories. Dagon was written in July 1917 and first published in 1919 in The Vagrant, an amateur magazine focused on the supernatural. The story is the first of his stories that introduced an element from the Cthulhu mythos, Dagon itself. A pagan cult worshipping Dagon later appears in The Shadow over Innsmouth, one of Lovecraft's most popular works. 1917 is also the year when he wrote The Tomb, a story about Jervis Dudley, a daydreamer who discovers a mysterious mausoleum in the woods by his house and becomes obsessed with it. These two works marked Lovecraft's return to short story writing after he burned most of his attempts at the genre 9 years prior and decided to concentrate on poetry. Lovecraft stated that it was his friend, William Paul Cook, a literary publisher and critic, who convinced him to start writing weird fiction again.
But neither ship nor land appeared, and I began to despair in my solitude upon the heaving vastness of unbroken blue. The change happened whilst I slept. Its details I shall never know, for my slumber, though troubled and dream-infested, was continuous.
This is cool. I don't see an elder sign, though. I cannot go any farther to the right, so even if that thing to the right of my reticle right now, on that kind of the, like knocked over table almost looks like. Anyway, even if that was something on there, I can't get to it to click it, so. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, I guess. I don't know.
When at last I awoke, it was to discover myself half sucked into a slimy expanse of hellish black mire, which extended about me in monotonous undulations as far as I could see, and in which my boat lay grounded some distance away. though one might well imagine that my first sensation would be of wonder at so prodigious and unexpected a transformation of scenery, I was in reality more horrified than astonished. For there was in the air and in the rotting soil a sinister quality which chilled me to the very core. The region was putrid with the carcasses of decaying fish and of other less describable things which I saw protruding from the nasty mud of the unending plain.
See, that kind of thing is one of the things that makes Lovecraft so great. Things like where he says, of other less describable things. Like, I can't give you a description, really, of the other stuff. So then what happens? As the reader, your mind starts filling in the blanks. Oh, what could it have been? Maybe it looked like this. And you start figuring out yourself. You create your own horror, and that's what makes it so great.
Perhaps I should not hope to convey in mere words the unutterable hideousness that can dwell in absolute silence and barren immensity. There was nothing within hearing, and nothing in sight, save a vast reach of black slime. Yet the very completeness of the stillness and the homogeneity of the landscape oppressed me with a nauseating fear. The sun was blazing down from a sky which seemed to me almost black in its cloudless cruelty, as though reflecting the inky marsh beneath my feet.
Elder sign on you. Okay. The Origins of Dagon. Dagon seems to be inspired by Fishhead, a short novel by Irvin S. Cobb about unnatural affinities between a hybrid idiot and the strange fish of an isolated lake. Supernatural horror in literature, H.P. Lovecraft. And Lovecraft's dream about a strange island emerging from the ocean, and him crawling in the ooze that covered its surface. I dreamed that whole hideous crawl, and can yet feel the ooze sucking me down. In Defense of Dagon, H.P. Lovecraft. Lovecraft's interest in the topic stemmed from his aversion to fish and sea smells. In his own words, I have hated fish and feared the sea and everything connected with it since I was 2 years old. But I cannot recall what earlier experience gave me such a profound and lasting aversion to the sea and seafood. The Dweller in Darkness, Lovecraft, 1927, Donald Wandrei. So ever since he was 2, he hated it. Geez, that's a long aversion to it. That's some serious commitment to hating fish.
As I crawled into the stranded boat, I realized that only one theory could explain my position. Through some unprecedented volcanic upheaval, a portion of the ocean floor must have been thrown to the surface, exposing regions for which innumerable millions of years had lain hidden under unfathomable watery depths. So great was the extent of the new land which had risen beneath me that I could not detect the faintest noise of the surging ocean, straining my ears as I might. Nor were there any seafowl to prey upon the dead things.
Elder sign over there. Mystery of volcanic islands. Volcanic eruptions sometimes result in the creation of islands. Most of them are transient and erode after some time, but some prove permanent. The floating pumice, porous rocks created when superheated, pressurized rock is ejected from a volcano, can move across long distances and transport barnacles and macroalgae that cling to it. In 2001, rafts of pumice created during the eruption of a volcano near Tonga, Polynesia, eventually reached Australia. It's quite a distance.
For several hours I sat thinking or brooding in the boat, which lay upon its side and afforded a slight shade as the sun moved across the heavens. As the day progressed, the ground lost some of its stickiness and seemed likely to dry sufficiently for traveling purposes in a short time. That night I slept but little, and the next day I made for myself a pack containing food and water, preparatory to an overland journey in search of the vanished sea and possible rescue.
Yeah, I'm not seeing a sign. Yeah, I don't know. I don't see one, so I guess we'll just move on.
On the third morning, I found the soil dry enough to walk upon with ease. The odor of the fish was maddening, but I was too much concerned with graver things to mind so slight an evil, and set out boldly for an unknown goal.
Yeah, I don't see anything here either, other than moving on. Okay.
All day I forged steadily westward, guided by a faraway hummock which rose higher than any other elevation on the rolling desert.
Okay. Dead whale. See, some of these discolorations or changes in shade in the ground I'm looking at also, but I'm not. I even go over to them and click and I don't get anything. So I guess we don't have one here either. Like this, even here, maybe this is an elder sign, but I click it and nothing, so that's not. Yeah, okay.
That night, I encamped, and on the following day still travelled toward the hummock, though that object seemed scarcely nearer than when I had first espied it.
There we go. The horrors of the ocean. The creator of the Cthulhu mythos and the fictional underwater city of Rillier, I never can pronounce that, Rillier, was convinced that life could not exist at the bottom of the ocean because the water pressure would make it uninhabitable. Today we know that the darkest depths of the ocean are home to many peculiar organisms. The deepest dwelling fish we have discovered so far, the deepest dwelling fish we have discovered so far, the Mariana Snailfish, can live about 8,000 meters, more than 26,000 feet, below the ocean's surface, in never-ending darkness, and at hellishly crushing pressures, hundreds of times stronger than those found at sea level. Upon glancing at the modern photos of deep-sea creatures, such as the anglerfish, the fangtooth, or the viperfish, and their truly Lovecraftian characteristics, it's hard not to find some irony in this. Yeah. Interesting. I love some of the fish in the bottom of the ocean, how they look. They look really cool.
By the fourth evening, I attained the base of the mound, which turned out to be much higher than it had appeared from a distance. An intervening valley setting it out in sharper relief from the general surface. Too weary to ascend, I slept in the shadow of the hill. I know not why my dreams were so wild that night, but ere the waning and fantastically gibbous moon had risen far above the eastern plain, I was awake in a cold perspiration, determined to sleep no more. Such visions as I had experienced were too much for me to endure again. And in the glow of the moon I saw how unwise I had been to travel by day. Without the glare of the parching sun, my journey would have cost me less energy. Indeed, I now felt quite able to perform the ascent which had deterred me at sunset. Picking up my pack, I started for the crest of the eminence.
The Loner. Contrary to popular opinion, Lovecraft was not an ever-frowning, eccentric, grumpy loner. He considered himself to be a person who appreciated humor. Moreover, he would often meet with friends in his apartment or at various cafes in Brooklyn and Manhattan. At times, his social life was so intensive, his work would suffer for months. There was a point when he finally decided he needed to put an end to daily meetings and loitering in New York cafeterias, and resorted to hiding at home and reading with the main room light turned off, pretending he wasn't there whenever a friend knocked on his door. He also had another method of deterring his guests, which involved greeting them in a bathrobe, with an unmade bed visible. He also had another method of deterring his guests, which involved greeting them in a bathrobe, with an unmade bed visible in the background, and piles of papers scattered across the floor.
I have said that the unbroken monotony of the rolling plain was a source of vague horror to me. But I think my horror was greater when I gained the summit of the mound and looked down the other side into an immeasurable pit or canyon, whose black recesses the moon had not yet soared high enough to illumine. I felt myself on the edge of the world, peering over the rim into a fathomless chaos of eternal night. Through my terror ran curious reminiscences of Paradise Lost and of Satan's hideous climb through the unfashioned realms of darkness. As the moon climbed higher in the sky, I began to see that the slopes of the valley were not quite so perpendicular as I had imagined.
Yeah, I don't think there's one here either. There's very limited. I cannot go left any more than that or right any more than that. Very limited area in which to kind of hover around, and I'm not seeing anything. So I'm going to say that we don't have anything here either.
Ledges and outcroppings of rock afforded fairly easy footholds for a descent, whilst after a drop of only a few hundred feet, the declivity became very gradual.
Okay.
Urged on by an impulse which I cannot definitely analyze, I scrambled with difficulty down the rocks and stood on the gentler slope beneath. Gazing into the Stygian deeps, where no light had yet penetrated. All at once, my attention was captured by a vast and singular object on the opposite slope, which rose steeply about 100 yards ahead of me. An object that gleamed whitely in the newly bestowed rays of the ascending moon.
Okay, I guess just continue.
That it was merely a gigantic piece of stone, I soon assured myself. But I was conscious of a distinct impression that its contour and position were not altogether the work of nature. A closer scrutiny filled me with sensations I cannot express.
All right.
For despite its enormous magnitude, and its position in an abyss which had yawned at the bottom of the sea since the world was young, I perceived beyond a doubt that the strange object was a well-shaped monolith, whose massive bulk had known the workmanship and perhaps the worship of living and thinking creatures. Dazed and frightened, yet not without a certain thrill of the scientist's or archaeologist's delight, I examined my surroundings more closely.
Still no, huh? I guess so.
The moon, now near the zenith, shone weirdly and vividly above the towering steeps that hemmed in the chasm. And revealed the fact that a far-flung body of water flowed at the bottom, winding out of sight in both directions, and almost lapping my feet as I stood on the slope. Across the chasm, the wavelets washed the base of the Cyclopean monolith, on whose surface I could now trace both inscriptions and crude sculptures.
Well, unless, because I've not checked it yet, unless the monolith itself has an elder sign, I'm not seeing one on this screen either. These look like mermaids and things. Doesn't look like any elder sign at all that I could tell. That'd be cool if they did an elder sign in like a constellation pattern. But I'm not seeing it. Not in a pattern that would match what we've been shown up to this point in the game. Yeah, okay.
The writing was in a system of hieroglyphics unknown to me, and unlike anything I'd ever seen in books, consisting for the most part of conventionalized aquatic symbols such as fishes, eels, octopi, crustaceans, mollusks, whales, and the like. Several characters obviously represented marine things which are unknown to the modern world, but whose decomposing forms I had observed on the ocean-risen plain. It was the pictorial carving, however, that did most to hold me spellbound.
Clear question mark there, so that's good. Storytelling methods. Cosmic Horror Scholar. Achievement unlocked. I don't know what that means. Has two little twigs on the achievement thing. Anyway, storytelling methods. Dagon contains many themes and storytelling methods that Lovecraft developed in his later works, such as telling the story through carvings at the Mountains of Madness, the Nameless City, journals and characters' notes, the Shadow Out of Time, the Haunter in the Dark, islands emerging from the ocean, the Call of Cthulhu, or fictional beings and deities based on real events and mythologies, Migo in The Whisperer in Darkness. It's also considered the origin of the popular Cthulhu mythos. Some of Lovecraft's other stories also conclude in a manner similar to Dagon, but let's skip the details in order not to spoil the ending.
Plainly visible across the intervening water, on account of their enormous size, were an array of bas-reliefs whose subjects would have excited the envy of a doré. I think that these things were supposed to depict men, at least a certain sort of men, though the creatures were shown disporting like fishes in the waters of some marine grotto, or paying homage at some monolithic shrine which appeared to be under the waves as well. Of their faces and forms I dare not speak in detail, for the mere remembrance makes me grow faint. Grotesque beyond the imagination of a Poe or a Bulwer. They were damnably human in general outline, despite webbed hands and feet, shockingly wide and flabby lips, glassy, bulging eyes, and other features less pleasant to recall. Curiously enough, they seem to have been chiseled badly out of proportion with their scenic background, for one of the creatures was shown in the act of killing a whale, represented as but little larger than himself.
Yeah, look at that. So maybe that dead whale we saw, this thing killed one of them. Possibly.
I remarked, as I say, their grotesqueness and strange size, but in a moment decided that they were merely the imaginary gods of some primitive fishing or seafaring tribe. Some tribe whose last descendant had perished eras before the first ancestor of the Piltdown or Neanderthal man was born.
Sign. The Piltdown man. Lovecraft would often use the latest scientific discoveries as inspiration for his works. He would even update his stories at the last moment in order to make sure they reflected the latest breakthroughs. Unfortunately, this method was not without its flaws. After Lovecraft's death, the Piltdown man discovery mentioned in Dagon turned out to be a paleoanthropological fraud. In 1912, Charles Dawson, an amateur archaeologist, announced that he had discovered the missing link between ape and man, the fossilized remains of a previously unknown early human. Years later, they turned out to be a forgery, but by that point, the fraud had already managed to negatively affect the early research on human evolution. In the year when the discovery took place, the majority of the scientific community believed Dawson indeed found the missing link. In 1953, Time magazine published evidence proving that Dawson was a con man. It turned out that the fossils of the previously unknown human consisted of a human skull, the jaw of an orangutan, and chimpanzee teeth. That's unfortunate. You basically knock people's faith in science and scientific discoveries by promoting a fraud, and now everybody casts doubt on anything you theorized about. And whether it was your own theory or you shared a theory somebody else had, starts to cast doubt on that because you were an idiot or greedy or whatever and you committed fraud. That's unfortunate.
Awestruck at this unexpected glimpse into a past beyond the conception of the most daring anthropologist, I stood musing whilst the moon cast queer reflections on the silent channel before me. Then, suddenly, I saw it. With only a slight churning to mark its rise to the surface, the thing slid into view above the dark waters.
Ooh, now it's getting good.
Fiend-like and loathsome, it darted like a stupendous monster of nightmares to the monolith. About which it flung its gigantic scaly arms, the while it bowed its hideous head and gave vent to certain measured sounds. I think frantic ascent of the slope and cliff, and of my delirious journey back to the stranded boat, I remember little.
I'm waiting for them to discuss insanity or madness as a theme. But everybody kind of knows that, I guess, generally about Lovecraft, so maybe that's not something special they'll have anything to say on. I am not seeing an elder sign here. Yeah, I don't think there is one. Okay.
I believe I sang a great deal and laughed oddly when I was unable to sing.
Yeah. Okay.
I have indistinct recollections of a great storm sometime after I reached the boat. At any rate, I know that I heard pearls of thunder and other tones which nature utters only in her wildest moods.
Oh, auto fade out, so no chance
When
to
I came out
look
of
for
the
something.
shadows, I was in the San Francisco hospital. Brought thither by the captain of the American ship which had picked up my boat in mid-ocean.
Delirious but free achievement unlocked.
In my delirium, I had said much, but found that my words had been given scant attention. Of any land upheaval in the Pacific, my rescuers knew nothing. Nor did I deem it necessary to insist upon a thing which I knew they could not believe.
In Defense of Dagon. In 1921, Lovecraft released a series of 3 essays. The Defense Reopens, The Defense Remains Open, and Final Words, later published as a collection titled In Defense of Dagon, in which he rebuked a series of criticisms directed at his works. Some notable quotes: "I paint what I dream, and will let the public settle the rest amongst themselves." Mr. Monday asks the raison d'etre of Dagon. I will give it, purely and simply to reproduce a mood. Its object is the simplest in all art: portrayal. The physical horrors of war, no matter how extreme and unprecedented, hardly have a bearing on the entirely different realm of supernatural terror. Ghosts are still ghosts. The mind can get more thrills from unrealities than from realities. In the essays, Lovecraft touches upon the topics of atheism, materialism, the quest for truth, and the love of science. Another one. Very nice. The journalist. Lovecraft was a prominent figure in the world of amateur journalism. In 1915, he started publishing his own journal called The Conservative, which included political and social commentary, poetry, short stories, and literary criticism written by him and other authors. Howard was a skilled wordsmith, but he also took criticisms to heart, which resulted in his decision to step away from writing poetry and concentrate on weird fiction again for the first time since his teenage years. Dagon, published in 1919, is one of the short stories written during that period. Yeah, Howard H.P. Lovecraft. Howard was his first name, in case that wasn't clear. In this example excerpt from The Conservative, the master of horror fiction explains his attitude towards warfare and the idea of world peace. Why any sane human being can believe in the possibility of universal peace is more than the Conservative can fathom. Should the entire civilized world agree simultaneously to disarm, one or more nations would undoubtedly retain secret armaments, and at the proper time take advantage of their more altruistic and less astute contemporaries in a wild career of conquest against unarmed victims. No country is, or ever can be, above warfare, until the basic impulses of the human animal shall have miraculously changed. Yeah, unfortunately, I at least in idea and overall concept, I agree with him. It's just, there's too much in human nature that people have to fight against to think that a large group of people are all together going to be okay with peace and whatever, right? It just doesn't make sense to me. Like, I don't think that's ever going to be a possibility, but I don't want to be a pessimist anyway. I'm just saying. Okay. The Atheist. Lovecraft considered himself an atheist and absolute materialist, which he attributed partly to his early childhood interest in astronomy and science in general. In his own words, "I am indeed an absolute materialist so far as actual belief goes, with not a shred of credence in any form of supernaturalism. Religion, spiritualism, transcendentalism, metempsychosis, or immortality. All I can say is that I think it is damned unlikely that anything like a central cosmic will, a spirit world, or an eternal survival of personality exist. They are the most preposterous and unjustified of all the guesses which can be made about the universe, and I am not enough of a hair splitter to pretend that I don't regard them as errant and negligible moonshine. In theory, I am an agnostic, but pending the appearance of radical evidence, I must be classed practically and provisionally as an atheist." Sources against religion: The Atheist Writings of H.P. Lovecraft, by H.P. Lovecraft; Mythos, The Myths and Tales of H.P. Lovecraft and Robert E. Howard, by H.P. Lovecraft and Robert E. Howard. I'm guessing 3 is going to be our limit on Elder Signs on the screen, but let's make sure. Don't see anything on the cabinet. Yeah, I do think that's probably everything. I'm not seeing anything more. So over here is not shaped the right way. Don't see anything like in the shadow or... Yeah, I think we're good. Okay.
Once I sought out a celebrated ethnologist and amused him with peculiar questions regarding the ancient Philistine legend of Dagon, the fish god.
Dagon, or Dagon, was the main deity of the Philistines, worshipped throughout the Middle East as the ancient god of fertility and crops. In Hebrew, the word Dagon was a common noun for grain. The rulers of Akkad, Mesopotamia, chose him as the patron saint of their war conquests. He also appeared as the judge of the dead in an Assyrian poem and an underworld prison warden or warder in one of the Babylonian texts. He is often mistakenly taken for a fish god due to the wrong interpretation of his name, as in Hebrew the word dag means fish. In H.P. Lovecraft's works, Dagon is an underwater deity ruling over the deep ones, a humanoid race with fish traits that reside in the oceans. He is worshipped by a secret cult called the Esoteric Order of Dagon. That's moving on. I think I basically searched everything to the right of this. I have to use the restroom really fast, the bathroom really fast. I'll be right back, and then we'll look at the left side of the room. All right, let's see. It's so hard to tell if there's going to be something hidden, right? Because like last room had 3. There have been some screens where I didn't find a single one, so it's like, maybe? I don't know. Nothing up there. Yeah, I just don't see anything more. Just the one here, as far as I could tell. Oh, well, there's kind of on the floor there, but see my mouse like that? That's as far down and to the side as it lets me go. It almost looks like on the carpet though. There's a branch symbol or something, but I can't get to it. Not on this side either. Yeah, so I guess no. Unless maybe on here, did I miss something on the woodwork? Don't think so. Oh, there maybe if there are more of those symbols over here on the carpet on this side, across from the table, maybe one of these does something. No, I mean, I'm clicking all over the place. I'm not getting anything. So I think probably no. If you see something, let me know. Like if you see something that it looks like I missed, but Yeah, I think that's it. Okay. I guess we're moving on.
But soon perceiving that he was hopelessly conventional, I did not press my inquiries.
Necronomicon, yeah. Oh, that's to continues way back there. Okay. I mean, it's cool, but I'm not seeing anything else other than obviously Necronomicon here. Yeah. Oh, yep. Here on this book as well. Interesting. Cool. Okay, so there are two here, looks like. Glad I just noticed that coming back down. Let's do this one first, I guess. The Marketer. Lovecraft's attempts to find a job in 1925 were influenced by advice he received from friends. Among others, he started freelancing for a marketing magazine where he would write announcements and commercials. Feel free to judge his copywriting skills for yourself. From an ad for Curtis Woodwork. Curtis Woodwork embraces both the usual structural units and the cleverest contrivances of built-in or permanent furniture, such as bookcases, dressers, buffets, and cupboards. Every model is conceived and created with the purest art, ripest scholarship, and mellowest craftsmanship, which energetic enterprises can command, and made to conform rigidly to the architecture of each particular type of home. The cost, considering the quality, is amazingly low, and a trademark on the individual pieces prevents any substitution by careless contractors. Source: Lovecraft Studies, Volume 7, Number 1, H.P. Lovecraft, S.T. Joshi. Joshi. Yeah. Alright. I mean, you know, it's what he did to pay the bills. It wasn't... I don't think it was great writing, but it was, you know, it pays the bills, like I said. August Derleth and the Cthulhu Mythos. August Derleth was an American writer and anthologist. He also befriended Lovecraft and published many of his works through his company, Arkham House. Although he greatly contributed to the popularization of the author's works after his death, he is surrounded by numerous controversies. One of his most questionable decisions involved introducing the good versus evil doctrine. Derleth was a devout Catholic to the Cthulhu mythos, which contrasted with Lovecraft's view of the world and his approach to cosmic horror. As a result, the author's works are often misunderstood and misrepresented in today's culture. It is also worth noting that Lovecraft was never really interested in creating a mythology, and the term Cthulhu mythos was coined by Derleth after the author left the mortal plane. That's unfortunate. Couldn't stay true to his vision of his own works. Regardless of whether you agree with him or not, you think, you know, religion is bunk, or you believe religion, whatever you feel, still, breaking the integrity of what the author intended is kind of a junky thing to do, but I don't know. Okay. No comments, huh? Just looking around again, I guess. Why are you looking at me? Did I say something amusing? Okay, that'll end up leaving. Ah, on the clock. Snap. Good hiding spot. The scientist. These days, the word scientist is a widely accepted term, but at the time Dagon was published, it was subject to a wide debate. After the author used it in the story, critics pointed out that man of science was a more appropriate term to employ. He admitted in defense of Dagon that if Dagon were to be reprinted, he would indeed use the phrase they suggested. Scientist was coined as an analog of artist to be used when referring to those studies, or to be used when referring to those studying different branches of science. Yet, in the 19th and early 20th century, scientific researchers in Great Britain and the United States were of the opinion that man of science, resembling the term man of letters, was the only proper choice. Among other things, it was gender specific, indicating that science was an endeavor to be pursued by only one sex. Ah, so man of science, man of letters, that was all a gender thing. Interesting. That's messed up. The term scientist became more accepted only after World War II, and man of science started fading into obscurity as an old-fashioned synonym. Yeah, I mean, especially when you start having a lot more progress that women made in equality, getting the right to vote, getting, the right to own property and to get a job and all this kind of stuff. I mean, calling something only what did they say? I don't know if they quoted him. Basically saying is like only something that like was a man's arena or something. Obviously that's going to get shunned by society as society becomes more equal in terms of how they try to treat women. Interesting. Not in a good way, mind you, but interesting nevertheless. That might be the only one. I mean, I can never tell. I'm sure I've missed some as I go. Almost looks like there's one below where my pointer is right now, but again, I cannot go farther down, so that's not going to be accessible. Yeah. Okay, I guess we're done with this.
It is at night, especially when the moon is gibbous and waning, that I see the thing. I tried morphine, but the drug has given only transient surcease and has drawn me into its clutches as a hopeless slave. So now I am to end it all, having written a full account for the information or the contemptuous amusement of my fellow men.
Excuse me. Lovecraft on tobacco and alcohol. Lovecraft hated tobacco, even though he used to smoke when he was 12 in order to look and feel like an adult. In his correspondence with friend Reinhard Kleiner, he claims that he quit as soon as he started wearing long pants. He also had a very strong opinion about alcohol, as evidenced by his letter to Zelia Brown, dated 13 February 1928. As for the matter of drinking, I have never tasted intoxicating liquor, and never intend to, having a strong aesthetic disgust at anything which blunts or coarsens the delicate natural equipoise of the evolved human intellect and imagination. Drinking excited my personal repugnance, hence I don't drink. Let the herd do what they will. I am rather in favor of prohibition. The prohibition of any one antisocial force as well as of any other. Source: The Spirit of Revision, Lovecraft's Letters to Zelia Brown, Reed Bishop, L.P. Lovecraft, Sean Branney, and Andrew blah 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 blah. Okay. Something. Oh, there we go. I was like, something's showing up. This one. There we go. Elder Sign. The Eldritch Biographer achievement unlocked. Now it shows 3 Elder Signs. I don't know what that means. Maybe that means I got them all. I don't know. Since it sounds like we're near the end of the game. We'll see. At another house where people were stirring, he asked questions about the gods and whether they danced often upon Lyrian. But the farmer and his wife would only make the Elder Sign and tell him the way to Nir and Ulthar, the dream quest of unknown Kadath, H.P. Lovecraft. Elder Sign is a protective symbol that can be found in various works of pop culture, usually represented by a 5-pointed star with an eye flame symbol in its center. For example, in games inspired by H.P. Lovecraft's writings, it is supposed to ward away all kinds of cosmic horrors. However, this is a later version of the sign created by the author's friend, writer August Derleth. In our game, we've used the original symbol as designed by Lovecraft, in the form of a 6-pointed branch, which he sometimes included in letters to his friends. Very nice. Okay, I'm going to guess that that's the last one, given we just got an achievement. I don't know, but I also don't see anything else when I hold right mouse button down, and I look around. I don't see anything else, so I'm guessing we're done.
Often, I ask myself if it could not all have been a pure phantasm. A mere freak of fever as I lay sun-stricken and raving in the open boat after my escape from the German man-of-war. This I ask myself, but ever does there come before me a hideously vivid vision in reply. I cannot think of the deep sea without shuddering at the nameless things that may at this very moment be crawling and floundering on its slimy bed.
It's going to be underneath, right? Giant.
Stone idols and carving their own detestable likenesses on submarine obelisks of water-soaked granite. I dream of a day when they may rise above the billows to drag down into their reeking talons the remnants of puny, war-exhausted mankind. Of a day when the land shall sink and the dark ocean shall ascend amidst universal pandemonium.
All the monsters are heading for New York City. Wow. That would suck, dude. Very nice.
The end is near. I hear a noise at the door, as of some immense slippery body lumbering against it.
Once again, looking for elder signs just in case. But I don't think so. Yeah, I don't see anything else.
It shall not find me. God, that hand! The window! The window!
Jump to his death. That sucks. From madness to oblivion. All right, so that's Dagon. Interesting. I liked it. Nothing terribly complicated. Nothing too intense, like not requiring a lot of skill or anything. But still definitely enough that, you know, you got into the feel of things. And also they were able to keep at least more so, if not fully true to Lovecraft and the feeling of a story by not trying to add things. Like if you add an action game, like for example, we played the Call of Cthulhu game, right? You try to add action and skill trees and all this other stuff. You muddle down, first of all, the feeling of the horror of the Lovecraft experience, but also you tend to try to fill in blanks like, well, they're getting chased by something. Okay, well, what are they getting chased by? Well, Lovecraft doesn't say. Oh, well, we got to give it some shape. Do you, though? I mean, maybe. Anyway, and so this kind of thing, right? You have to improvise and add, and it takes away from the feeling of what makes Lovecraft. So I think they did a good job with it. I know the idea of slithering body pounding the door should be scary, but I can only think of a child slamming fish as a prank. Very nice. I like it. Well, okay, so that's going to do it for tonight. So thanks for watching. Okay, so I've already said this, I did at the beginning of the stream and also earlier today on the stream this afternoon, like 12 hours ago, basically now. Anyway, but I will be gone the rest of the month of May. I mean, I'll be in town until Friday, but then Friday through the end of May, I'm out of town. So no more live streams until June. So the first weekend in June, which, what day of the week does that end up being? That is the 4th. So the 3rd and the 4th. So yeah, June 3rd, June 4th. I will be in town those days, so I will be streaming again on that weekend. But no streaming next weekend, the weekend after that, or that 3rd weekend. All of those. Wait, is that a 3rd weekend, or is that only 2, actually? Let me think. Let me see. Yeah. So the 14th, the weekend of the 14th, the 21st, the 20th, those 3 weekends. Yeah, no more in May, but the 4th of June, I will stream again. So, thanks for joining me. I appreciate it. I hope you guys had fun. I enjoyed it. We'll figure out where we continue with Simulacrum, how we move on, and also figure out, I'll try to replay Darkness Within up to where we are. Hopefully fix things so I can actually get the next nightmare and move on with the game. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll talk to you guys soon in comments or on Discord or wherever. Till next time. Peace.
Poor spider.
This freaking boy. Oh, that's so sad.